welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be all about my favorite and most used everyday makeup brushes. I get questions all the time about what my top favorite brushes are for certain makeup applications. So I'm going to go through my entire face routine and show you exactly which brushes I chose as my #1 brush to do that job. Let's go ahead and start off with foundation. My go-to brush for foundation is the Sigma F84 brush. A lot of people like the Sigma F80 brush. It's just a round top kabuki. This one is of the same family, but it is angled. The reason why I like the angled brush instead of the round kabuki is because this one gets into the harder to reach areas of your face a little bit easier. I like that it fits perfectly in between my eyebrows, and if I want to blend out my foundation around my nose, the shape of it is just a lot easier to work with than the flat round kabuki brush. I also love this brush because it really does a great job of distributing the foundation evenly, and it does not cake up your foundation. This brush is great at kind of absorbing extra foundation that you might have accidentally put onto your face. Just like a beauty blender will suck up any extra foundation, this brush does a similar job to that. For concealer, I have two that I use very often. My first love was the Morphe M436 brush. I loved that this was a duo fiber brush. It really blended out my concealer effortlessly, but I stopped using this one because I felt like it didn't absorb back enough of the excess concealer, but this one does a great job of that. This is the Luxie 512 small contouring brush, but I use it to blend out my concealer, and I absolutely love it. The shape of it is perfect. It is small enough to get right into that area. The bristles are great. They are not harsh. It is a semi-densely packed brush, but not too bad. I like that it does a good job of packing on coverage with the concealer, but also taking away any excess. So this is my favorite brush. It also does a really good job of blending out the concealer to the point where it doesn't settle into the fine lines underneath your eyes, which I love. My Morphe brush did not do that job as great as this one. To set my under eyes, I always use my Sigma F35 tapered highlighting brush. This is my favorite brush to set underneath my eye area, the bridge of my nose, my forehead, my chin. This is just the best brush ever for that. It's the perfect shape, the perfect size, the perfect everything. I highly recommend this one. To set the rest of my face, I know that this one is weird because it is not meant to do this at all, but my favorite brush ever to set my face is the Sephora 49 angled blush brush. I just love, again, same shape as my foundation brush. It's just a great shape to kind of get into those hard to reach areas of the face, while the bristles on here are still nice and densely packed. They're synthetic, so they really do a great job of pushing powder into the skin. It also picks up a decent amount as well, whereas a natural hair brush is not going to pick up as much powder. This one picks up plenty, and it does a great job of buffing it, blending it, and setting the face. For bronzer, I have two brushes that I absolutely love. The first one that I want to talk about is by IT Cosmetics, and it's the No. 8 Wands Ball Powder Brush. The reason why I love this brush so much is because of the shape of it. It is a tapered brush, which means that when I go to pick up my bronzer or contouring powder, the product initially gets right at the tip of the brush, which is great because that little tapered point gets straight into the hollows of my cheeks, but the fact that it is a little bit more rounded and fat a little bit lower down, it does a great job of blending out the product without leaving a harsh line, but you get to initially put the product right where you want it so it doesn't get messy. So if that makes sense, that's why I absolutely love this brush. Another one that I love for contouring, I know this is gonna sound crazy because it's such a huge brush, but this is by a brand called Still Spa Essentials. This comes in a pack of, I wanna say, 5 brushes, and you can get it at Walmart. I found mine at the Walmart in Canada. I don't know if they have it at the Walmart here. I have not been to the Walmart here to check for you, but I love picking up the bronzing powder, the contouring powder, kind of at the side of this brush, and then I'll take it and I'll just make back and forth motions into my cheek, and it just blends the powder so effortlessly. I love this brush. And it's also great for more of a shimmery bronzer like MAC's Gold Deposit, to kind of take a little bit just on the tip of the brushes, not on the side, and kind of do an overall swirl all over the face. So this brush is amazing. For blush, I have found my favorite blush brush ever. For me, finding a blush brush was very difficult because I wanted one that wasn't too big, and I didn't want one with synthetic hairs because synthetic haired brushes tend to pick up more product than natural hair bristles. So I found this one by Sonia Kashyap. This is the No. 2 blush brush, and I love this brush because it picks up the perfect amount of blush and it fits perfectly just on the apples of your cheeks in this area right here. I will either take the product at the tip and kind of swirl it onto the cheeks, or depending on the formula, I'll take it on the side and kind of pat the product onto the cheeks, and it's just the perfect size. I love this brush. Next, for highlighting my cheekbones, I have two brushes. One creates a more, I don't want to say natural, but a more natural highlighted effect, and the other one creates a really intense highlighting effect. So this one right here is the Smashbox fan brush, and I love this brush for when I want to wear highlighter, but I don't want it to be so bam in your face. This one does an amazing job at really packing on the highlighter to make it look like you're literally dripping in highlight. This is the Anastasia A23 brush, and I got this brush and at first I didn't like it because I was taking my highlighter and kind of swirling it or kind of like rubbing the product back and forth, and it would create a zebra stripe of highlighter. So now what I do is I kind of pick up the highlighter on the side of the brush and I kind of pat it onto the side of my face, and it blends the highlighter so prettily into the other powders that are going onto your face, and it puts so much highlighter on. It looks amazing. That's what I use for my highlighter today. So it's really intense without looking too sharp if you pat the product in instead of swiping it back and forth. Moving on to brows, I typically only use one brush, and this is the Anastasia number 12 brush because I usually either use a brow pencil or a pomade. This brush is not the best for powders, but I use this with my Anastasia dip brow and I love it. I love that it's dual-ended. The spoolie on here is the perfect size. It's not too big that it's going to blend the product all over the place, and the angle on this brush is amazing and it picks up the perfect amount of product. Now, with that, sometimes if I'm gonna go ahead and clean up my brows, carve them out, anything like that, I like to use this flat-ended brush by Sigma. This is the E15 Flat Definer, and this is probably one of the only brushes that I genuinely like to carve out my brows. I just think that it does an amazing job. Moving on to eye brushes, I typically don't use that many brushes unless I'm doing a lot of detail work, and then I'll use a bunch of smaller brushes here and there. But these ones right here are my go-to, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go through them. The first one that I love and I'm absolutely obsessed with, I use it every single day, no matter if I'm wearing eyeshadow or not. I use it in every single tutorial. This is my Sonia Kashuk brush. The one that I found that was the closest to it on the website, because this came in a holiday set, was the number 28 medium shadow brush. I don't know if it's the exact same thing, but it's the closest one that I found. I love this brush to pick up a bone colored shadow or a neutral color shadow to set my eyelids, especially to add a little bit of a matte highlight in my inner corner and on my brow bone on no makeup days. This brush is essential for me. I don't think that I could live without it. The next one for the eyes, it's my all-time favorite blending brush. This is the Sigma E40 brush. I also would not be able to do my makeup without this. Every single day, I'll just take a neutral shadow and I'll just buff it into the crease. This brush makes blending so effortless, I can't even tell you. It's just the best blending brush you'll ever use in your life. Next, to do a little bit more detail work and blending in the crease, this one is a tapered brush, so it's a little bit of a different shape than the other one that I just showed you. That one has a more fat tip to it, so it does a lot of just like overall blending. This one is tapered, so it's gonna do more defined blending in the crease. This brush is by Zoeva, and it's the 228 Luxe Crease Brush, and I love this brush, especially for blending out shadows. If you're gonna do a cut crease, it's the perfect shape and perfect size to blend right into that crease area. To pack shadows on the lid, especially shimmery or metallic shades, I like the Zoeva 234 Luxe Smoky Shader Brush. It just looks like this. It's also a great size. It's not too big, so it really fits on the lid space, and it doesn't take the shadow too far up into the crease, which I love. I used to use another brush. It was by Sigma. It was the flat shader brush to pack shadows on my lid, but I found that it was a little bit too fat and too large to really place shadows precisely on the lid, so I switched over to this one, and I really like this one a lot. Next, my favorite brush, because it is so soft to blend out shadows on the lower lash line, is this one by Kat Von D. This is the dual-ended Shade Light Eye Brush. This dome side right here is the perfect shape, the perfect size, the perfect density, the perfect amount of softness to blend shadows on your lower lash line. I love it. And then a lot of the time I'll use the pointed side to put some highlight in my inner corner. So this one's great, especially for traveling, because it's a 2-in-1 tool. Next, I thought that I would mention these because I have been using them a lot lately because I'm trying to teach myself how to contour my nose. So I use these two brushes right here. I like to use my Luxie 229 tapered blending brush to add a powder highlight on my nose when I am done doing any creams. So I take this one, I just draw a small skinny line in the center of my nose and a little bit on the tip of my nose, and I think that it's the perfect shape and it doesn't put too fat of a line of highlighter on the nose, and I love it. And I also use it a lot for inner corner highlight as well. And what I've been doing to contour my nose is I've been using my Bobbi Brown contour stick. It's a cream product. I put a little bit on the tip of my nose and I blend it out with my finger. But then when I want to go and set that with a contouring powder, I like to use this brush right here. It's another brush from the set that I was telling you about from Walmart by the brand Still Spa Essentials. So this comes in this pack. And this brush is great for kind of setting those contour lines on your nose. It's the perfect size. I'm obsessed with it. This brush is also great if you want to do a cream eyeshadow base. It's a perfect size and it picks up tons of eyeshadow base, which I love. Next, quickly, I just want to mention my beauty blender. I have not been reaching for this as often recently. I've been using a lot of brushes, but this is one of my favorite tools because it does so many things and it's just one little product. I use this for foundation, concealer, setting my face with powder, blending all the powders into each other. When I'm done doing my like bronzer, blush, and highlight, I just kind of go over it to make sure that everything mixes into each other. This is just a great all-around universal tool, and I think that everyone should own one. Next, just two more things. I want to talk about my favorite pair of tweezers. These are by Tweezerman. They are insane. If you are looking for a new pair of tweezers that is going to literally pull out every single hair, these tweezers are going to be a lifesaver for you. I used to use a stupid pair by Revlon and it just was not doing the job. So I decided to get these. They are a little bit expensive. They're 20 bucks, but they last you, I'm not kidding you, a lifetime. I've had these for so many years already and oh my god, they're so good. They're also great for putting on lashes. And then last but not least, my favorite eyelash curler. It's this one right here by Tarte. This came out in a holiday collection, so I don't know if they have this exact one with the studs on it anymore, but their eyelash curlers in general are amazing. I used to use a Shiseido one and I did not like it as much as I love this one. So that is it for all of my favorite, most used makeup brushes and tools. I hope that you guys learned something and found this video helpful and informative. If you did, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos, and I will see you in my next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.